Aye.
Opposed, say nay. It is approved, 5-0. Public comment.
That was the only one that signed it.
Name Joe Moore, 9115 Winding Trail.
Let me
Yes,
interject
sir.
here, Joe. Joe's here to, he has a little discussion, so we'll probably give him a little more than 3 minutes,
Okay.
okay?
Oh, man, I wasn't prepared for that. No, just
Then
kidding.
you don't need to use it all.
Oh, that's
I thought we were going to
fine.
break a record with
We
speed.
all want to go, we all want to go home.
No, listen, here's why I'm here. In the past, there's been a precedent set with the Lake Hills Homeowners Association and the town of St. John in terms of us working together to achieve some things in our community. Right now, we have a scenario where we take care of a lot of the different water features in the community. Some of those are owned by St. John, others are owned by the association, so there's some mixed ownership. What we want to do is take that a little further. We've got an issue with some invasive grass species that are negatively affecting the wildlife and the pond themselves. So we want to take some extra steps as a community. We are not asking the town to get financially involved with that. So we have basically achieved the portion of getting bids from professional companies, having the problem assessed, and are looking to complete that, or have that work completed. So because a couple of those properties are partially owned by the town, we're here to ask if we need to do anything else in regard to that issue.
Dave, can you shed a little light, just a little commentary about what we should do in order to get this accomplished?
So I have a temporary solution, which we hadn't previously talked about, but a more permanent solution. So let me start with the permanent solution. The permanent solution is that as a council and as a town, you develop a policy which is consistently applied throughout the town of either A, you're going to take control of all these ponds, or B, you're going to insist that the homeowners associations control these ponds, and that you don't have a situation, in the second scenario, you don't have a situation where you're the owner, right, of a pond, or where then folks, could complain to you,
responsible,
right?
right.
So the upside to controlling it is you have control. Downside to controlling it is you have an expense, right? And that you have to budget for annually to do that. So until that decision's made and until the title issues are worked out with regard to this specific issue, my recommendation would be that you have the HOA, that you grant them a temporary license to bring their contractors onto your property to do what they're going to do, and that obviously if their contractors are hurt or whatever, that they would indemnify the town, because the town's basically, in that scenario, for the temporary scenario, we're stepping back and saying, fine, you can do what you gotta do, but then don't look to us if there's a problem, right? So that would kind of be
They're
the
responsible.
tit for tat, right, would be that then it's on them. So kind of like what you're going to talk about later in the meeting is we want to use somebody else's property for the fireworks, and that property owner says, yeah, that's fine. But if somebody gets hurt or whatever as a result of your use, then you don't let me, Mr. Homeowner or Mr. Landowner, get sued for that, right? So same scenario is okay, go ahead and I see the value and it's good that that's getting done. And if I was a homeowner out there, I'd probably want it done. But on the other hand, then we'll let you do it. And then I think you work towards a more permanent solution later on, right? Whether that's going to be, we're going to control it all, or everyone else is going to control them.
Thank you, Dave. There you go, Joe. Any other questions?
I have a question. So the invasive species, the weeds or whatever it is that you want to eliminate, is that something you're allowed to do? I mean, do you need a specialist to say, yes, you're allowed to do that? I mean, I hate to
Great
just start
question.
killing all the vegetation around the lake.
Yeah, so when you talk about specialists and the company that we've contracted or looking to contract, they are They are the specialists that both IDEM and the DNR uses. Cardno is the name of the company, so they're able to identify what these species are, what the long-term impacts of not doing anything is, and then the short-term impacts as well. So right now, when we all see major burns going on by the county at the dunes, those burns are happening because they're burning these grasses to eliminate them, because of how quick they do what they do. So the impact basically is that over the period of the next 5 to 10 years, these ponds will become completely dried out because of the invasiveness of these species. So yes, they've been professionally identified. Yes, there's been professional recommendation on how to remedy the particular issue, but good question. Hope I answered that right.
If I may interject, Joe, we sent Bob Davis the spec sheets on the chemicals they're gonna use, and he came back with an approval from
Okay,
our professionals that reviewed it for us.
Okay.
So they've agreed the chemicals are totally fine, not toxic or anything of that nature, and therefore they can go ahead and use them. So Bob, more or less gave it his blessing.
okay. Any other questions for Joe?
Does that have to go to IDEM and get their approval?
That's where it went. And I
Okay.
guess they looked at it
All
and
right.
said, it's a Roundup, something in the Roundup family.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, Bob had it like
Now you
3-4
just said
months.
Roundup family, and what was in the news about Roundup with cancer?
That's a brand.
I know, I don't know if that's what he means, but he said Roundup.
I know.
Well, the DNR.
People that are
yeah.
listening,
The-
they might want to, you clarify that.
The DNR approved it, so I'm sure.
So what we were able to provide was complete MSDS sheets. And again, so the company that's doing this, Cardno, has 2,200 employees across the country. They are as professional as it gets in terms of knowing what they're doing and what they're looking at. So it's not some small local contractor that thinks they're figuring out how to do it. It's a two-step removal process. The first is a chemical application that makes basically the 12-foot tall invasive species lay down, and then they bring in, it's basically a drum roller and a piece of mulching equipment on a floating tank is essentially what it looks like. So it's a two-step process to do the removal, and the only other way to remove them professionally is to burn them. And this isn't an area where you could have a safe burn,
Okay.
so.
Thanks, Joe.
So Brian, you're in favor of doing this?
Absolutely.
Is there a time frame,
So
Joe?
I would be in favor of it for sure. I think it's a great idea. Although I live in the subdivision, I would likely abstain on this vote. But
Okay.
I think it's a great idea.
Wayne?
If all that's true, yes.
Okay. Mike?
I don't see any issue with it.
Okay. So do we want to get a motion then to draft a temporary license and authorize the town manager to sign?
Yes. What, I'm going to need a little bit more, like in terms of the specifics, time it's going to take to do this, right?
Sure.
Stuff like that. Which, if you want to get it to Chris and then he can get it to me, I'll.
Just email format, this is the timeline.
Yeah, the timeline, and then something describing the application process that I could put in there that,
The certifications would
Right,
be
that-
beneficial?
right.
I can have Cardno provide that.
Mhm.
So it's not coming from me, it's coming from the contractor doing the work, and then I'll send the email to Chris.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
So do I have a motion to have Dave draft up a license agreement and have it reviewed and signed by the town manager?
So moved.
Is there support for that?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mike. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay.
You get an abstention from me.
Okay, so 4-0. One abstain.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Good seeing you.
You too.
All right, item number 6, new business.
You actually have one other item of public comment.
Oh, I'm
which
sorry,
I-
okay.
I told Beth I would read. It was an email of 6/23. It says 6/23/12. I suppose it's 6/23/21. From an Edward Merrick at 10135 West 93rd Avenue. Sorry I wasn't able to come to the last council meeting on water rates. I have 3 questions. 1, why would we have 2 water rates for the same amount of water based on your meter being 3/4 or 1 inch? 2, why would non-residents who are using only our sewer system and have no way to measure sewage be given the minimum sewer rate? 3, why would we give a discount for over 100,000 gallons? Seems we should be encouraging water conservation, especially on huge users. Thank you.
I
Okay.
think a question for the, he's asking about the sewer rate on out of town?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they're out of town and they're getting water, they're more than likely not hooked up to the sewer system to begin with. They would have a septic.
We have sewer only users.
Oh, sewer
Only users.
only use.
Only, there's a few houses like that.
55?
Yeah, I think so. And then they use the water meter, and they calculate what they're using off of that. And that, there's this formula for it. I don't know the formula, but they've been doing that for a while.
No, the way that they're charged, sewer only users are not charged a minimum fee. Sewer only users are charged a flat fee. I would use the term a flat fee, and it's based on the average user. So they're charged based on 7,200 gallons of usage. So they're not being charged a minimum fee, they're being charged a flat fee based on 7,200 gallons of usage. That's how sewer only's charged.
So Beth, would you say that fee that they're being charged is average for St. John, below, above? What do you think? Because I think it's a legitimate question the gentleman's asking.
I would say that 7,200 gallons is what the town of St. John considers to be average usage for a family of 4.
Okay.
So maybe slightly below then, because I think that, as I was explained by Eric, that St. John has a tendency to use a little more water than the average bear. We have bigger houses, maybe slightly bigger families, so maybe slightly more than the average user possibly, you think, or?
Let me rephrase that too, 7,200 gallons in the winter months. I'm a family of 5, and we use about 7,200 gallons in the winter months. Summer months, more, we have a pool and a sprinkler.
Right.
In those months, they wouldn't be paying additional sewer anyways.
That's correct.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do we have an answer for the discount for 100,000, or is that something that we should?
Well, the 100,000 gallon discount comes out of ordinance, so that's a town council decision. I would say like a business may use 100,000 gallons, like Crew Car Wash, they're gonna use a lot of water. Private residents, actually this month, I think we did have maybe 10 people, 10 private homes that did use over 100,000 gallons of water, which is huge,
Right.
huge.
Some of those, though, are new construction with new lawns, new landscaping,
I
so.
know, but
Yeah, we've had
100,000
that's a
gallons.
ton of water, right? Even though we have no rain lately,
I mean,
that's still a
that's-
tremendous amount of water.
Wouldn't you say, though, that the vast majority
Yeah.
of the 100,000 gallons, those are commercial
Commercial.
or
Sure.
industrial uses? And so I'm sure, while I wasn't here when that ordinance was passed, that there was some discussion relative to the fact that if you're going to attract that commercial or industrial user that's going to use a lot of water, right, they're going to be asking the community for some help with that because that's,
Right.
they know they're going to be going through it. So in order to be competitive, I'm not saying that's the right answer. I'm just telling you that that's probably, because I've heard it in other municipalities that have large consumers of water, that, you know, the large consumers come in and they say, well, I can't pay this rate over, you know, I'll just go to a different municipality that'll
So in
give-
most
come in to
cases,
break.
we get to gain the 3% instead of the 1% on our tax base, so it's way more than offsets it. It's a plus for the town.
I'm sure that was the debate when that ordinance was passed, yes.
Yeah, you'd get more in tax revenue off
Right,
of a large
way
user.
over, yeah, right, so, makes
Okay.
sense.
Right. Anything else? Mr. Westland, is that it?
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. All right, then we will move on to number 6A. It's to consider a contract with Mad Bomber Fireworks Productions to provide a fireworks display at Heartland Park on July 3rd, 2021. How are we doing with the organization of the fireworks displays and things like that, Mr. Town Manager? Welcome, by the way.
Thank you. We're doing well. We had a meeting on last Thursday, I believe, or was it Monday this week, with the police chief, the deputy, the fire chief, the parks director, and the public works director. We went through where we're going to organize parking, how we're going to manage traffic flows, which was going to be part of my report at the end. We are going to shut down. The fireworks show will start around dusk, roughly 9:30, depending on when
You want to
dusk
cover it at the end, you can do that.
Okay.
That's fine.
We're doing really well, though. We've got an action plan. We've got plenty, we believe we've got plenty of staff there to organize the event, and it should go off without a hitch.
Awesome. All right. So do I have a motion to approve the contract with Mad Bomber Fireworks?
So moved.
Second?
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That is approved 5-0. Item number B, in conjunction with that is a license and agreement with LBL Development for the use of the property at White Oak and 109th Avenue for the fireworks display on July 3rd. Do I have a motion to approve that license agreement and authorize the town manager to sign?
So moved?
Second?
Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Wayne, for the second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. That is approved 5-0. Item C, consider a license and agreement with the town and Harry A. and Catherine A. Snell Living Trust for the use of their property at 10678 White Oak and Dyer for fireworks. They're allowing us to do some parking and so on their property. So do I have a motion to approve the license and agreement with the Snell Living Trust and authorize the town manager to sign?
So moved.
Thank you, Brian. Support for that?
Second.
Thank you, Wayne. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. That is approved 5-0.
I would like to thank the Snells for allowing us to do that, so it kind of helped out. Otherwise, we wouldn't have as much parking as we're going to get, so.
Yeah, me
I wanna-
too.
I want to thank them.
Very thankful.
And LBL.
And I think the turnout's probably gonna be quite substantial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's nice that Mr. Lawton allowed us to use that
Yeah.
corner to actually launch the fireworks too, because that's a big area that's going to be safe from, and allow us to use our parking lot for parking, so.
Right, he doesn't need to do that. It's very nice of him to do it.
Yep. All right, item D is to consider an amendment to the agreement with Arsch Group for the supplemental work on the St. John Road Impact Fee Program.
Can we have some discussion on that, Mr.
Yes.
President?
I was hoping that somebody would introduce this.
I looked at that, and I got it the other day. I looked at the money that's charged here, and I'm not happy with it. I looked through it, the first 3 steps, I'm okay with, but the rest of it, I'd like to table that or have further discussion on it. But I think the importance is the first 3. We got to get those started. And I just think it should be deferred so we can have further discussion and find out what Arts Group has charged our town in the last couple of years. I think it's kind of expensive, so I want to defer that part.
So I have a question about deferring it. This impact fee is starting imminently next month. Will that cause a problem for us doing that?
Yes. I would think so. Brian?
The delay, the delay is going to eliminate the probability of starting to charge, and right now, we're into the middle of the building season.
I don't think so. I think we need the first 3 to continue on, but the last part of it, we don't need right away.
But you can't piecemeal it. It goes all or nothing, Wayne.
Why? Why does it have to go all or nothing?
What? The actual
This
agreement?
agreement.
All the training and such has to be put through so that the people are
But
qualified.
we put a lot of money into it, Brian.
Wayne, let me
I-
understand, what specifically do you want to push off?
The last 4, 5, and 6.
Item number 5, community outreach is, I think, required by state in order to do this impact.
But that's not necessary to get this going. I know it starts, next month, on about the 14th,
13th, yeah.
the 13th?
Zoning code update?
If I could,
Please.
council members, I would tend to agree with Wayne for now. The first three are absolutely important to get done now. The application for the road fee, the manual, and the orientation, which is the training for the board that we have to establish for the appeals. If it's the will of the council to put off the remaining 4 items, those I was going to initially ask the council to have phased in on a second phase, because I would have liked to have seen this agreement broken up into 2 phases, because the first phase, the 3 items are important, need to be done before July 13th, when the road impact fee takes place. The remaining items in the agenda, or on the supplemental agreement, would be done after the road impact fee takes place, and the reason for breaking it up into 2 phases would be that the remaining items from 4 down could be placed or could be charged out of the road impact fee that we collect. Because the community outreach, although yes, it does need to be done, and I apologize, I'm stepping into this now, and there's a lot of work that's been done on this, but my understanding is that those items can be done at a later date after the road impact fee takes place, and it is planned to take place after the road impact fee takes place. So we could potentially defer that at a later date, and if it's the will of the council to possibly have reviewed on what consultants do that work, I would suggest that it does just need to be done in a timely fashion after the road impact fee takes place. The 1 and 3 are critical, though.
Right, but it also says on our details that we've got here in number 8, when it talks about the schedule, it says the second phase will consist of tasks 5 through 8, implying that 4 is part of the first phase.
Well, right, so 4 is talking about zoning code updates. That doesn't need to be updated?
In talking with Attorney Decker, there's some disagreement there between your planning your attorney for your plan commission and Taggy here, or the Arsh group more specifically. So I would also probably like that delayed just so we can get some more consensus.
Okay.
So, and you're sure that we'll be able to implement the impact fee, in middle of July, because we're not going to be meeting maybe until after this begins?
We are going to have to call a special meeting regardless to start the appeal, or to put the impact fee appeals board in place. So you have to have
Okay.
another meeting
Okay,
before
so
July
that's-
Have to have a
13th.
That's
special.
underway, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're not gonna, it starts, the road impact fee is implemented on July 13th. You need to have that board in place before then, and we, as you see on your agenda, do not have that board on the agenda, and Dave is frantically
I'm not-
waving his arm.
I just want to point out, I think you can do items 1 through 3, and it is phased in. The code update, to Jerry's point, and what Chris was saying, you can do this in phases because you have a task work, like where they've broken it down, right? So you could approve the first 3. I know I've seen an email, and forgive me because I don't have that email memorized, where I think Mr. Decker had indicated that, some of the code stuff he's already looked at. Okay, so, it's $7,400, it's $140 an hour basically to have Taggy do it, and then have Adam review it, or if Adam's already looked at it, my guess is, and I don't want to speak for Adam, and I certainly, if Adam's watching this, I'm sorry, but I don't want to tie his hands to a budget, but my guess is that you're going to wind up cheaper with Adam doing it because he's already got all this knowledge from looking at the road impact stuff. So
Okay.
to me, I think it does make some sense you know, you can, obviously, you can do it however you want, but I think financially and from a practical standpoint, I think it does make some sense to kind of break this one up.
Okay.
Okay,
Any other questions or comments from anyone?
No problem with that.
Is this an annual fee or is this just a one-time fee?
No, this is just the initiation, the initial startup of the fee, because the training is a one-time deal. The board will sit down, it'll take 3-4 hours of training in order for them to understand what it's all about and what they're expected to do. There's no meetings following, no nothing. If there's never an appeal, there won't be any meetings. The only time the board meets is if there's an appeal.
And Councilman Schilling, the first 3 items on this task order are a one-time, one and done. The first one is to create the application form for the building department, to create the administrative manual for the building department, and then the training for the board. So once that's done, we have all that paperwork in hand, and we won't need a consultant to do it again, unless there's an update by state law, in which, it will require an update and not a total redo.
Plus, we're gonna do this by Zoom on the net, so it's going to be recorded, so that if anybody needs a refresher or an update, just give them a copy of the recording, which we've paid for initially, and they'll be able to just review it at their leisure and not have to worry about generating any more fees. Once we do it once, that's it.
Okay, so, Mr. Westland, do we want a motion to approve 1, 2, and 3, and to defer 4, 5, 6, and 7, or just approve 1, 2, and 3?
Either way, it's 6 of one, half dozen of another, right? I mean, I think probably technically you're moving to approve 1, 2, and 3 and deferring 4,
Okay.
5, 6, and 7.
And then could we add in there a dollar amount, $29,910? I think that's 1, 2, and 3 added together.
That's correct.
Looks right.
Just so everybody understands, item 7 is right now at 0. The only reason that's thrown in, that's like a contingency.
So maybe not to exceed $29,910?
Sure.
Yeah, you gotta look at the total column, Mike.
Oh, okay. I thought, that- when I was looking at it, I thought there was 2 different companies. One was cheaper, one was more expensive, so.
No, first group is Denny.
All right, so do I have a detailed motion?
You're
I make a
looking,
motion to approve, this agreement with 1, 2, and 3 totaling the amount of $29,910.
So moved.
And
Second.
then have the, town manager authorize it.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That is approved 5-0. So items 4 through 7, Chris, you'll have to review those, and Brian with Tagi, and nail that stuff down.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Wayne.
Okay.
Item number E is to consider an agreement with NDOT for the US 41 street sweeping. Mr. Salatas, anything to introduce on this one?
Yeah, so this is a contract that the town has had before with NDOT. This is NDOT paying the town to do some street sweeping along 41, since they have a much larger road inventory than you do. It's for, I think, a grand total of less than $1,600. I had talked to Bob Davis about this. This is something we've done in the past. It will be the exact same contract once the state gets me an updated version with the corrected dates. And this is something he would like to continue on, and can be put towards the leasing or however we pay for our street sweeper here in St. John.
Is this just once?
This will be, I believe it's a
Twice.
48-month contract, and they'll be paying you to do street sweeping twice along 41 each year at a rate of, I believe it's $360 a curb mile.
All right.
Now, is there a way we can do it more than twice? Because if you look at that area, it's,
So you can, but the state won't pay you for it.
That's not very nice.
All right.
well, twice is not enough.
So we're looking for a new agreement with the state.
Yeah.
An
you
updated agreement?
I think you're looking to authorize me to sign the street sweeping contract once NDOT forwards us a updated contract.
Okay. Do I have a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion to consider the agreement with NDOT for the street sweeping,
And authorize the town manager to sign?
authorize the town manager to sign, yes.
Thank you, Mike. Is there support for that?
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mike. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. That is approved 5-0. Okay. Item F, ordinance 1734, which is an ordinance amending town zoning ordinance 1483. Chris?
So this is something that the town council took up previously, prior to my tenure here. In April of April 28th of this year, as Mr. Schilling made or Councilman Schilling made the motion, the BZA was going to change their notice agreement to more reflect the state law, which was one newspaper once for 10 days for their legal notice. And then Councilman Schilling made the motion that it be two newspapers for 10 days for the legal notice one time. The council voted unanimously to do that and to send it to the Plan Commission for adoption. There was no communication to the Plan Commission, so they had no notice that the council had taken action. So they had a 45-day window to act on that, and they didn't. And so in talking with Attorney Decker and Attorney Westland, we would like the council to repass this on second reading to send it back to the Plan Commission in order for them to either adopt or deny it. And then I believe the idea is for us to get the Plan Commission and the BZA to adopt similar ordinances for both commissions or committees, that it be 2 days, one time, or two newspapers, one time, 10 days for all legal notices, so that way there's consistency among the two boards, and that way the staff doesn't accidentally tell developers or petitioners the wrong legal notice requirements. So this is just kind of a clerical cleaning up some things that should have happened.
Questions or comments? All right, so then I would like a motion to consider ordinance 1734 on second reading.
So moved.
Thank you, Mike. And is there support for that?
Second.
Thank you, Brian. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That is approved 5-0. Based on 5-0, then I would like a motion to adopt ordinance 1734 as amended.
So moved.
Thank you, Mike. Is there support
Second.
for that? Thank you, Wayne. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. That is approved. I didn't hear you. 5-0?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I said it.
Item 7, reports and correspondence. Mr. Schilling,
I don't have anything.
Mr. Pondinas,
Nothing.
Mr. Aurelio.
Maybe the only thing I'd like to mention is our fireworks. We're thankful that the tourism board had granted us $20,000, which I think is equal to what we're spending on our fireworks. So I just want to say we personally thank them for their generosity. So
Awesome. I like that. Okay. Anything else? Mike?
that's it.
Brian?
No, I'm about done for the week.
Okay. I have nothing either. Beth?
2 items. The first, Bob Davis had requested that I bring this up tonight, the SWIFT grant. He's looking for direction from the council as to which consulting firm you would prefer works on this, whether it be Baker Tilly, who has offered their services, or Haas and Associates, who have also offered their services. So he is looking for you guys to decide if you had a preference.
Okay.
And what's this for?
The SWIFT grant,
Does anybody have a preference?
I would use Baker Tilly.
Okay.
Only
What is
because,
this, what
only
grant?
because Haas and,
Stuff.
and Sons, they're swamped with work.
Basically like a water grant.
Okay.
For water utility?
Yes. So essentially, it's a matching grant, and so we can use the bond proceeds for our match. You guys just have to
That's it.
complete you just have to complete the paperwork.
Chris, do you have a firm that you prefer to use in these situations?
I don't, not in this situation.
So we really don't even need a motion on this, but if you want to, and just tell Bob that we would encourage him to use Baker Tilly on this.
I think his thought process was, since Baker Tilly worked on the bond and kind of has a list of the projects that we're doing with the bond proceeds, that they might
Yeah,
potentially be a better fit.
You have more background.
that makes sense.
So he asked me, and I said, I can't make that decision. So then he asked that I bring it to the council tonight. So we'll let him know, Baker Tilly.
Well, that's our recommendation, but he has the authorization to do as he pleases.
He won't like that.
I know.
But.
We
I
just
think-
made the decision for
Yeah,
him.
okay. And then lastly, I just wanted to quickly congratulate both the Lake Central softball team and the Hanover Central baseball team. They both made it, as we're aware, to the state championships. It really is a huge accomplishment for both teams, and something that these kids, I believe, will remember for the rest of their lives. So neither was really an ending that we had all hoped for, but I'm immensely proud of these kids for their achievement and proud of our community for rallying behind both teams.
Did they both lose, Beth?
They both lost the state championship, but it's huge to make it.
Oh, no,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
I'm a Cubs fan,
Just to
so I'm used to
compete.
it.
Wow. Better than the Cubs.
Yeah, there was a good crowd out there to send off the Lake Central softball team,
Yep.
so that was nice to see. Anything else?
No,
Okay. Mr. Westland,
I don't have anything.
Mr. Salatas.
So the fireworks have kind of been talked about enough. I would like to send a thank you letter to the South Shore Visitors and Convention Authority for their grant, granting us the grant. And then I would just like to make a brief notice to the community that we're gonna, the police department will be temporarily shutting down White Oak at 105th and 109th that night once the fireworks display is finished, in order to facilitate traffic out of the event, so we can get that event cleared out as quickly as possible. As part of our action plan, we're going to have some cleanup that night, and then the following days to make sure all the properties and the property owners that have graciously allowed us to use their property is cleaned up to their satisfaction. And I want to thank the police department, fire department, EMS, Parks, and Public Works for they're going to make this event a great success. Likewise, we were also notified by Haas and Reith Riley that Joliet Street's going to be under construction on June 28th, and it'll remain closed for a minimum of 3 weeks for road construction. And then I'd just like to inform the council that at the safety board meeting, they had received and opened towing contracts, and that's going to be coming up they're going to have a recommendation for the council, your July meeting for towing companies. And then I'd just personally like to thank all the councilmen for your time, getting me acclimated to the job. I've spent many hours with quite a few of you before I started in order to go around the community and see all the subdivisions, the areas of concern, and all the projects going on. And I'm sure there's a lot more we missed. And I'll certainly be coming up to speed. I'd also like to thank the clerk treasurer too. She was gracious enough to take me around to the department heads and show me the building, and has been great to work with so far, and as well the council and the staff here. So I'm really enjoying it. It's been a great experience so far, and I'm looking forward to continuing working with you. That's what I've got.
I'd like to, thank you for, before you even started and you were on vacation, you actually wrote that grant for us to get the fireworks paid for, so I appreciate that. And then as far as the details on the fireworks, I mean, we're gonna be shooting those off on the 40-acre corner of 109th and White Oak.
Yes.
We'll be using Heartland Park as for parking. Also, the property next to the Heartland Park, between those two is the Snell property. We'll be using some of that for parking. We're going to have police out there directing traffic. We're going to have the fire department will be out there to make sure that everything is safe there.
Absolutely.
Public Works is going to be out there. Parks is providing arrangements for porta potties, sanitation stations, and things like that. So everything's going to be in that parking lot. So everybody can head to Heartland Park and enjoy the fireworks on the 3rd of July. So thank you for your work, Chris.
Thank you.
All right. Request to purchase, Beth.
We, or you, have received 12 requests to purchase totaling $210,771.35. The requests to purchase are from Ray O'Haron, Vigilant Solutions, HECC, Landheim, CDWG, Dell, B&K Equipment, Boonder Electric, 2 from B&K Electric, Superior Engine, Mugabug, and Dyer Construction.
Okay. Do I have a motion? Looking for a motion to approve the request to purchase in the amount of $210,771.
So
I'll
moved.
Thank you,
I'll
Wayne.
second.
Thank you, Wayne. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. That is approved 5-0. Number 9, payment of the bills for the corporation. You have the docket in front of you for a total of $1,590,690.91. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Wayne.
Second.
Thank you, Mike. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That is approved 5-0. Do I have a motion